U.S. President Donald Trump's senior advisor Jared Kushner and his envoy to the Middle East Jason Greenblatt met Friday night with U.S. Ambassador to the UN Nikki Haley and UN Secretary-General Antonio Guterres to discuss Washington's efforts to promote Israeli-Palestinian peace and ameliorate Gaza's humanitarian crisis, according to the White House. Follow ENet News on Facebook and Twitter. Kushner, Greenblatt, Haley, and Guterres also discussed recent votes taking place in the UN. The General Assembly voted Wednesday in favor of condemning Israel for excessive use of force against Palestinian civilians in Gaza and voted down a U.S. proposed resolution condemning Hamas over the recent escalation of violence in Gaza. Jason Greenblatt, Jared Kushner, U.S. UN envoy Nikki Haley and Israel UN envoy Danny Dan and Nabil Abu-Rudine, a spokesman for Palestinian President Mahmoud Abbas, attacked the U.S. plan, calling it meaningless, and arguing it will achieve nothing. Without the agreement of the Palestinian people, the fate of this round of meetings will be complete failure, he added. A month ago, 5 of Trump's administration officials and a Congress parliamentary aide said that the White House intends to release its new Mideast peace plan shortly after the month of Ramadan. However, the officials noted that the release of the plan could be postponed depending on developments in the region. Meanwhile, Greenblatt and Kushner have been briefing U.S. allies about the peace plan's details. Another possible obstacle taken into account in promoting Trump's peace plan is the fact that the Palestinians might not even agree to review the plan, judging by recent developments. Abbas recalled his envoy to the U.S. Husam Zamlot back to Ramallah for consultations last month in protest of the U.S. Embassy relocation to Jerusalem. Abbas recently reiterated that, the United States is no longer an honest mediator in the peace process. We will not accept any plan put forward by the United States because of this partisan spirit. As part of the U.S.'s decision to change tactics at the UN, Ambassador Haley had proposed an amendment condemning Hamas for firing rockets at Israel and inciting violence along the Gaza-Israel border fence, thereby putting civilians at risk. Resolution condemning Hamas voted down despite gaining majority. United Nations, in an unprecedented and dramatic move, the UN General Assembly voted last week in favor of condemning Hamas over the recent escalation of violence in Gaza, making it the first time in the UN's history in which a resolution against Hamas gains a majority. The U.S. amendment was approved by a 62-58 vote, with 42 abstentions. But General Assembly President Miroslav Lajcak declared that under an Assembly rule, a two-thirds majority was needed, so the amendment failed. In the following vote, the resolution to condemn Israel and call for an international force for the protection of Gaza's civilians was approved by a 120-8 majority, with 45 abstentions. Diplomatic sources said it was not a question of if but of when the United States retreats from the Human Rights Council, which is holding a 3-week session through July 6. The U.S. source, speaking on condition of anonymity, told Reuters the withdrawal appeared to be imminent but had no details. A separate U.S. official in Geneva had no information about a looming pullout during the upcoming talks, saying, "We are still moving ahead with our engagement for the coming session." U.S. envoy to the UN Nikki Haley. Photo, Reuters. Haley publicly told the Council a year ago that Washington might leave the body unless a chronic anti-Israel bias were removed. The U.S. argues that since the forum was set up in 2006, it has been holding a permanent standing agenda item on what its members says are suspected violations committed by Israel in Palestinian territories, which Washington wants removed.